Are you through? No, I'm doing society a favor. So? That's another one right now. I've got you for the rest of your natural-born life if you don't watch your step. You want another one? Yes. You got it. You got another one right there. That's another one, pal.
Cut it out.
You through?
Not even close, bud.
Good. You got one more right there.
You really think I give a shit?
Another. You through?
How many is that?
That's 7, including the one when we first came in and you asked Mr. Vernon here whether Barry Manilow knew that he raided his closet.
Now it's 8. You stay out of it.
Excuse me, sir, it's 7.
Shut up, Pee-wee.
Hello and welcome to Pod Culture Vultures.
Who the fuck is this asshole?
I'm Dean Fontaine, and with me, as always, is God's foster son, Kev Shelley Vimto. How's it hanging, Kev?
Lovely, mate. How's it with you, my son?
Beautiful, beautiful. We are recording on a March evening.
A fucking cold March evening.
What have you been up to this week?
Lazing around, getting the old feet-a-roonies up, enjoying a nice bottle of plod, old El Vino. Yeah, enjoyed a couple of movies over the weekend. Yeah, just a bit of R&R, baby. How about yourself?
Yeah, pretty much the same. Just muddling on, muddling on.
You got to keep on keeping on. Life's a garden, dig it? You make it work for you. You never give up, man. That's my philosophy.
My mum went to a bird sanctuary.
I know a cracking owl sanctuary.
But unfortunately, she ended up at a nudist colony. So she got the two confused. But the good news is, Kev, she did manage to see a cockatoo.
Now, what shall we talk about?
This week, we have got an 80s classic. Probably the best, if not definitely in the top 10 best films of the 80s and possibly all time.
The lowest number.
It is none other than John Hughes's Breakfast Club.
The Breakfast Club. Yes.
The Breakfast Club. I have to say that this is one of my favourite films, and when I was younger, it was one of my films that got me through school, sort of thing, and it's just a great film. So, I mean, it basically is around 5 characters, students who have got a detention and have actually turned up for it on a Saturday.
Well, that's the funniest thing of all, isn't it? That they've actually, especially like considering you've got a character like Judd Nelson, who's a bit of a renegade, who doesn't give a fuck, but yet he actually turned up on time on a Saturday to do his detention.
But what I thought as well, watching it again for the first time in a long time, I did kind of think they must have got possibly the idea for the Spice Girls from this, because basically there's 5 different types of people. So a princess.
Why, you stuck-up, half-witted, scruffy-looking nerve herder.
A brain.
I couldn't fuck a gorilla.
A jock.
You were a sexual icon. You know, girls in Huntington still talk about you?
Really? Which ones?
A basket case.
I didn't know you smoked cigars, babe, particularly Louis Brand.
Eddie, it's really not what you think.
Shut up! Shut the fuck up, man!
And a criminal.
What are you doing, Marv?
Harry, don't move.
Marv?
Don't.
Marv, what are you doing?
Emilio Estevez, Molly Ringwald, Ali Sheedy, Judd Nelson, and
Anthony Michael Hall.
Anthony Michael Hall, yeah. And you've got the principal, Paul Gleason, who is fucking amazing in it, as he is in everything he is. And pretty much one other character, really, the janitor, which I think was originally going to be Rick Moranis, but I believe he had an argument with John Hughes and fucked off.
Stitched himself right up.
The next time I have to come in here, I'm cracking skulls.
I mean, I've got to say, I love this film. I mean, this is, you know me, massive fan of the 80s, everything about it, the fashion, the film, the music, brilliant. It's just, no matter how many times I go back to this film, it just gets better and better. And I do think, as you say, one of the funniest things is it's a film about five students who basically got themselves into trouble. They have to do a detention on a Saturday and actually fucking turn up. I mean,
yeah.
But then I suppose they're most of them are like driven there, aren't they, by their parents now? But no, I loved it. It just sums up the 80s, everything about it. I mean, even down to when they're doing the little song montage towards the end, and Molly Ringwald's doing this dance, which just sums up like 80s dance moves. My favourite character in this is the principal, or Richard Vernon. For me, he's just got all the best moments.
Yeah.
The first one for me, it just kicks off, is the one where Judd Nelson stitches them up with the weighted door. He takes a screw out of the weighted door, so the door, because basically he's blocked the door, isn't he? He's opened the door so that he's always keeping an eye on them, and Judd Nelson's then just taken the screw out, so it just closes.
Yeah,
it's just that moment where he tries to, he's trying to keep it open, and he puts, because the door's like weighted, it's really heavy, and he puts this like really light little metal fold-up chair in between, and he just lets go, and the whole thing just crashes.
The door's way too heavy, sir.
I think Paul Gleason is probably one of the best characters in it, because he doesn't really want to be there. Also, there's the question of why is he not sitting in the room with them so we can see what they're doing? And the answer to that is he doesn't really want to be there, and he doesn't really give a shit. He just thinks that by him saying stay there and do as you're told, they're going to do it. But it's all the other things of him, like creeping around and looking at all of the personal files of like kids that have spoken to the school psychiatrist and stuff like that. He's reading through this. Oh man, no wonder that kid's fucked up.
He's basically just as bad as him, isn't he? He's got some real sort of anger issues as well, you know.
Does Barry Manilow know that you raid his wardrobe?
Give you the answer to that question, Mr. Bender, next Saturday. Don't mess with the bull, young man. You'll get the horns.
But also, he does another thing where he puts John Bender in a closet, like a closet used for sports stuff. He throws him in there, basically, and then locks the door. It's like, you can't... I know it's the 80s, but yeah, actually, I think that sort of thing did happen at my school. But
he takes it a step later, doesn't he? Because he's basically had enough of him. He's like, when you leave here, Bender, and you're living the perfect life, I'm going to find you, Bender, and I'm going to kick the shit out of you. You gutless little turd.
I think you're in the wrong line of work, mate.
He's like, are you threatening me? He's like, goddamn right, I'm threatening you. I'm going to kick the shit out of you.
But then he thinks, who's going to believe you? And then they're going to believe me. He said, I'll tell you what, let's do it now. You can punch me first. It's like, oh my God. But then when he walks out and he's all there, he has to go for a shit, doesn't he? Because I think, oh, he's just... He's just brought himself on a bit, hasn't he?
But life and joy and the nature of God. Oh, hallelujah.
Judd Nelson, he crawls out through the ceiling and then falls through the like styrofoam ceiling back into the library where the rest of them are. But he comes back in, doesn't he? Old Vernon. He's got all the fucking bog paper hanging out his arse. Like coming out the back of his trousers when he walks up.
Yeah, because he comes in and he's like, oh, He's like, what the hell is that crash? And they're all denying it, aren't they? And pretending like it was something else. And he's like,
I will not be made a fool of.
and then as he turns around, he's got like a plastic toilet seat tucked into the back of his
Yeah,
trousers.
yeah, that's what it is, isn't it? Yeah, it's a flat. Yeah.
he does, mate. He does. He steals the seat. He steals the film. He just gets all the best moments. He really does.
It's good because he's brilliant, obviously, in Die Hard.
Yeah.
But another film he's good in is Trading Places, and it's just that bit when there's someone's. I think he's on a public phone box.
I knew you were going to say that. Yeah.
Fuck off.
I anticipate penetration and acquisition at 2100 hours tomorrow. Hold on. Fuck off.
They all go to Judd Nelson's locker to get. I can't remember where they all go. I don't know. They all end up going with him anyway. And
is that when they go get the they go to get the weed?
Yeah. But they don't know it's weed, do they, until they get there? But they do that, and he. But they sort of clock Vernon, don't they? And they're sort of like sneaking around. Then he sort of like starts walking back to the library. So they panic, don't they? Start running all around the halls. But then they get trapped. So Judd Nelson thinks, okay, we don't all need to get in trouble. I'll just take it. And he stuffs the weed into fucking front of Brian's trousers.
Get back to the library, Keith. You're doing it.
He sort of runs to the gym, doesn't he? And then starts. But the weird thing is, he's playing basketball. He's got a basketball, and he's got one basketball shoe on. But that's another funny bit with Paul Gleason, because he tells him to give him the ball, and he keeps pretending to throw it at him, and he's sort of flinching, and he just rolls it to him, and he boots it.
That's what I mean, though. He's got all these just golden moments, isn't he? Every time he's on screen, it's just another golden moment.
Yeah. I think, and also the conversation that he has with the janitor when they're sitting down and they're drinking beer.
Yeah, that's another thing, isn't it?
Yeah, they've done about 2 cans of beer and they're just having a chat. And he's saying, these kids turned on me. And the janitor said, no, they haven't. No, they haven't at all. He said, you fucking took a teaching job. You thought it'd be easy. You'd get summer holidays and da-da-da. It's like, he just sort of like, you can see it going through his head. He goes,
Yeah. Still happens to this day, I guarantee it. Yeah, but I like that bit when he's you were mentioning about when he's going through all of the private documents, and he says to the janitor, "Danny, he's like something like maybe we can just sort of keep this between us. Maybe we can have like a little arrangement." And he's just really expecting him to just go, "Yeah, it's fine. Don't worry about it." And the janitor was like, Yeah, you can do something for me. Yeah, what's that? $50. What?
Okay. Here's a song. Fucking hell! Fuck! What have you done? I keep trying to fucking shut the door. Grab me guitar, please.
It is one of those films which has so many one-liners and just so many great performances, and they're all really good in it. And it's just it's a very funny film, but it's also a very sweet film. How these 5 characters have come together. They never would have interacted before, sort of during school, and they come together and they learn more and more about each other, don't they? And then they sort of create this friendship, this bond.
Yeah, but it's so. But nice. that whole thing that you're talking about there is so perfectly comes to that conclusion when they're sitting down talking in almost like that circle, and each of them are sort of pouring their hearts out, sort of thing, about different stuff, and they kind of realise that they are different but all the same, really, which is what I think the kind of message is like. The common thread is they're all young and they've all got different issues they're going through. I just think that it's just a really important. It still is important now, as it was then, as just to think, well, you ought to give people a chance just because you don't think that you're going to click with them by the way they dress or something they like that you don't like. It's just a perfect little message.
Well, it's that don't judge a book by its cover, though, isn't it? And all five of these characters are so radically different from each other, and there are some who are judging others at the beginning, and like you say, it's just like a nice message that they're all going through the same thing. They're all basically the same person, but they find each other. By the end of the movie, and generally become friends. And then there's a kind of like hints at a couple of relationships, doesn't it? Which you would never in a million years put together, but because they've spent this valuable time together, it's it's something that they've built.
But when they say it's so true. It's when they say about what if I came up to you on the Monday and said hi, and it's like we. I think Molly Ringwald says they'd say hi and then they'd rip the piss out of you as you walked off just to make out that you don't really like you.
Yeah.
And it's like that's the sort of thing that fucking happens when you're at school, and the cool kids and the dropouts and the nerds and the geeks.
Oh, well, he's very popular, Ed. The sportos, the motorheads, geeks, sluts, bloods, wastoids, dweebies, dickheads, they all adore him. They think he's a righteous dude.
It's fascinating, isn't it? Because I always see life as just a series of copy and paste, and it's just a cycle. It's an ever evolving cycle. It just continues in its own same way, and it's the same with school. No matter when you were born, no matter what school you go to, you're always going to get the jocks. You're always going to get the geeks. You're going to get the popular ones. You're going to get the cockheads. You're going to get like the rock and rollers. You always get it, and it's just it's the same mentality, and it's the same attitude. It's just the same fucking bullshit that everyone goes through for 4 or 5 years, no matter where you are. Yeah. And I think that's why this film is so relatable, and that the actors were perfectly cast, and that you can sit there and watch a film like this and transport yourself back there, and you can say, I get that person, and I understand that person. And I think it's just genius screenwriting by John Hughes,
Yeah, it's amazing. And I did read it. I think in 2016, the film was put in America. It was put into like a historical film.
What, the AFI?
I think something like that, because it's like a historical piece of work that can be looked at and sort of drawn upon for that time. But because of the clothes and everything like that. But the whole message from the film works in any generation, as you say. But I think the fact that he wrote it and directed it, I did read that they were a bit apprehensive about letting him direct it, but he managed to convince him because he did the whole thing for, it was $1 million budget, and the film grossed $51 million. So
he made a few sovs on the back of that then, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. And it's a very dialogue-based film, really. It's not an awful lot happens.
No, and what's interesting is, he wrote the script in only 2 days.
Yeah.
Which is mental.
Yeah.
Absolutely mental, considering he is very dialogue heavy.
Yeah. Did you know that there's a 2.5 hour director's cut that he's done of it? That only he saw and he had. Yeah, I was reading about it yesterday. His wife hasn't kind of released where it is, but it does exist. It's a cut that he's done, and obviously he cut it down to 1.5 hours, just because obviously that's more palatable for the movie watcher to see. But ever since hearing that yesterday, it's like, I really want to see that.
Listen, you snot-nosed little shit! I was taking shrapnel and K-Sod while you were crapping in your hands and rubbing it on your face!
I always find director's cuts always really interesting, whether you like it or not, or whether you think it adds to it or it's sort of drawing it out a little bit. As you say, it's just it's interesting to see all of those scenes which ended up on the cutting room floor, and even in a 2.5 hour cut, he probably still had about 5 to 7 hours worth of footage. So he probably could have made like a 4-hour version of it. You know, if they made a 5-hour version of Dances with Wolves, which was incredible, I'm sure he probably could have made a 5-hour cut of Breakfast Club.
I was just going to say that it seems strange that Emilio Estevez seems to be popping up quite a lot in the films that we've done. I think he's been in most of the films, so that's the one link to a lot of what we've seen. Is and neither of us have really sort of thought, Estevez is one of the best actors ever. I mean, I think in an earlier podcast, I referred to him as looking like a giant toddler. But I just thought that was a bit odd. And what was even odder is that he was originally going to be Bender to portray the character.
He's not really, is he? I don't think he's ever been threatening in anything, is he?
No, not even in Con Air when he's running around in sandals. You know my thoughts on sandals.
Yes, I do. Very much so, yeah.
What are those?
They're called my sandals.
What would you rate it then? What's your rating for this film? I already know what you're going to say, but let's hear it for everyone else.
It's a 10 out of 10.
Yeah, I knew you were going to say it's a 10 out of 10.
It's the perfect 80s film. Just a brilliant piece of work. As you know, I love dialogue-based films anyway, but a dialogue-based film that can actually keep you drawn in and entertained for an hour and a half has got something special.
Yes, indeed.
And yourself? Sir?
A very solid 8 out of 10.
Hey, yo, what the fuck?
I wouldn't go as far as 10 out of 10. Not as far as a 9, but it's nothing less than an 8 out of 10. But a very solid 8 out of 10. Yeah.
You surprised me. I at least thought you'd have given it a 9.
I really like it. I really do like it. But it's one of those films. It's not a film I could watch every week. If I can watch it every week, then it definitely gets a 9 out of 10. And then if I can watch it every week and I'm emotionally compromised by the end of it, then it definitely gets a 10 out of 10.
Okay. All right.
So a very solid 8 out of 10. Really good. One of the best 80s movies of all time.
Really, really good. The one thing that I did think as well that I am going to mention is that if the film was made now, as it was, and I don't know, I can see an argument for it, but you know what it'd be? So there's 5 different types of people in that film, but there's no minorities in it.
Yeah. There would be a lot more equality and diversity going on in terms of its casting for sure.
Because of that, I think that's be the first kind of thing. If someone, for want of a better word, the old snowflakers, millennials types, if they were going to watch it now, I do think that's one of the first things that they point out.
Yeah, maybe. I suppose. I guess it also just depends on the setting of the movie. Maybe, if it's established as it's a very white suburban middle class kind of environment, then maybe it kind of gives a bit more sort of clout to it. But I mean, I suppose when you look at. I suppose when you look at the entire cast, I mean, even you've got Gleason, you've got the janitor, the 5 main cast members, and then even the parents. They are all of the same ethnicity. And it's very male dominant because you've got say only 2 out of the 5 are female, but 2 out of the main 7 characters are female. So I think in terms of ethnic equality and gender equality, I think the film today there'd be a focus on that.
A naked blonde walks into a bar with a poodle under one arm and a 2-foot salami under the other. She lays the poodle on the table. Bartender says, "I suppose you won't be needing a drink." Naked lady says, "Oh, shit!"
Are you up for a little round of Can I Tickle Kev's Fancy?
Oh, go on then, sweetheart, go on.
All right. Right, I've just sent you the first one. It's on the Pod Culture Vultures WhatsApp.
That's incredible. I didn't know he won the Golden Globe Award. And basically a photo with the legendary David Jason's face superimposed over this singer Adele's body, and it just says Adele. That's brilliant.
Yeah.
I love it.
I thought I'd do a couple of cheeky sweet ones for you this week. Your next one's on its way now.
It's always teasing me because when it's coming through, the image is always blurred. So I sometimes I get a general idea of what it's going to be. This one, I have no idea. And then the longer it takes, the anticipation.
It is.
It's his mate sat in the car though.
That's his wife.
That's his wife.
I think so, yeah.
So there's a Honda Civic turned up on its side where an old boy standing next to it with the highest waisted trousers you've ever seen in your life. His missus is still in the car and it says, "Never mind what or how he's done that to the car. Look at his trousers. Look at them. What a pair of trousers."
Great, isn't it?
I had a music teacher when I was in first school like that.
What, they had trousers like that?
Yeah. Mr. Ryman used to tuck his trousers right up there. He had his little acoustic guitar and strum,
Yeah.
slappity slap. Yeah.
Some OAP Simon Cowell. Now, this last one is my favourite from the week because it's the headline, obviously, and the woman's face. It's class.
Yeah, that face is class. The expression is a kind of, "You fucking what?"
She
banned
looks like
banned from
like
Chinese buffet for shitting in the seaway.
Oh, God. She looks like the drummer out of Iron Maiden. Grand 52. I drank 2 bottles of vodka. Oh, fucking hell.
And then just shat all over the seaweed.
Does somebody not know how to flush a toilet after they've had a shit?
What do you mean?
Well, it was fucking one of yous. Disgusting.
Are you planning on taking a trip to China at all?
I've already been there, mate. I've already been there. But I went there about, I don't know, 10, 12 years ago. But no, not in the distant future. No.
The reason why I'm asking, Kev, is because I've heard that it's now sorry. Right, it's now come into law that you have to have a COVID test when you get off the plane when you land in China. But the test they do now over there is the anal swab. I don't know if you've heard of this, because it's more accurate than a nose swab. It's a little finger up the arse, I think. Well, not a finger, a swab. The old bumhole swab.
The old digit up the rectum.
Yes. The old cheeky thing. I was just wondering how many people would think, oh, well, it's not worth going. Obviously, I mean, if you're a business person or something, you're going to have to go over there. But I wonder if after a while they kind of get used to it and almost like it.
Oh, go on, do it again. Go on.
Yeah.
You were here this afternoon, Alfred. Yeah, I know. Well, I fancied a bit of stretching, you know what I mean?
Gone to the back of the queue again. Sorry, sir, you already done bumhole sniff.
Hey, you know our breakfast?
Stick another one in, Sir Gerald.
Ooh, that's deep. Plug me in.
Yeah. Ooh, that smells like COVID.
that'll keep the COVID away.
Pure mature COVID.
Oh, chunky. Not smooth, but chunky.
I want you to tell all your friends about me.
You can catch us on the old bookie face at Pod Culture Vultures. You can twat a tweet with a twit at Pod Culture V. And we're on the old Instagram at Pod Culture Vultures. And if you want to write us the old electronic email, if none of those you catch your fancy, you can catch us at podculturevultures@gmail.com.
Lovely jubbly. So, we're off to fight another day, and we'll see you next time. Ta-ta!
Au revoir.
Dear Mr. Vernon, we accept the fact that we had to sacrifice a whole Saturday in detention for whatever it was we did wrong. But we think you're crazy to make us write an essay telling you who we think we are. And you see us as you want to see us. In the simplest terms, with the most convenient definitions. But what we found out is that each one of us is a brain and an athlete
And a basket case. A princess.
and a criminal. Does that answer your question? Sincerely yours, The Breakfast Club.
Don't